Erik Menendez have criticized the series through his wife's Twitter, saying that the show is dishonest, how the portrayal of his brother Lyle Menendez is just downright caricature, and that statement basically sums up everything morally wrong with the series. Because this series is trying to overly digest the story, they also ended up making two-dimensional caricatures of not only Lyle Menendez, but out of 90% of the very real people involved. Lyle is the evil mastermind, Erik is just a mere accomplice and victim. The very few time they do try to flesh out these people, they do so in the usual ham-fisted and violating way. Showing shit like Leslie Abramson carrying her new baby in the hospital to show her as a loving and caring mother figure. Which, can you not flesh out these people within the context of the story without breaching into their personal shit? Even the people you represent as the good guys wouldn't and doesn't approve of this strawman character you're building off of them. The way they handle the speculation around the Menendez brothers is just the worst. It's clunky and expositional. Dominic Dunn just talked there like he's in a fucking podcast, and it's not even that relevant to the main plot. It's just exploitive. If you wanna build mystery around the truth, you could do something similar to Danny Boyle's Steve Jobs, where most of the movie is just the characters talking behind stages about the major events in Apple's history. But I can see how that format doesn't give you enough excuse to show the Menendez brothers sharing together. Sick fuck. You see how the line between shitty writing and disrespecting the living fuck out of the very real people you're portraying starts to blur quickly? Presenting the story this way, or the way Ryan Murphy put it, looking through different reflection and refraction of a gem, pretty shit gem if you ask me, means you're also only looking at the most extreme side of both. If you look at any comment section from a Menendez case, you can see how the series have already radicalized people to one side or another, which is such an irresponsible thing to do to a case that's gonna have a retrial soon. A lot of this could have been avoided if the moral ambiguity is written with any competence. I know I just used Snowtown as a bad example, but let's take a look at one scene. Major spoiler for this one, where Jamie Velasquez is forced to watch the torture of his brother who have also assaulted him. You can see Jamie's internal conflict, because he is just as traumatized by his brother's action as he is by the shit they're doing to him, and ended up killing his own brother only out of mercy. You see how the nuance of vigilante justice is shown indirectly through the character's main struggle. That kind of depth basically doesn't exist in Netflix's Monster. There's no subtext left untouched, and every single conclusion is spoon-fed to you. The exact opposite end of Snowtown, where a movie succeeds at being respectful to real life instead, would be No Man of God, a film about the many conversation between Bill Hagmaier and infamous serial killer Ted Bundy. This film mostly takes place in one room without bringing up the victims, so there's no exploitation. I don't know if the real Bill Hagmaier was consulted on this film, but even if they didn't, this wouldn't have been nearly as bad as Monster, because they barely touch on the character's personal life, and the very few times they do, it felt appropriate. I'm kind of cheating by using this film as an example, because unlike Snowtown, which failed morally, this film does not fail as a narrative story. In that case, I guess the only weakness is no one would have been interested if this was about an original fictional serial killer, which isn't even a bad thing because Ted Bundy, as a matter of fact, exists in real life. As incomplete as this film's point might be, it is sure as hell better than Netflix's Monster, which is so bad the Jeffrey Dahmer story doesn't even have a proper conclusion. In a genre where you could fail either morally or narratively, Monster miraculously failed at both. And there's nowhere else the strength and weaknesses of each aspect better shown than in the Golden Child episode of each season.